Hello, and in this brief video I'm going to talk about how to increase sales and profits. I'm going to keep it fairly short because this subject is as broad as it is long, so I didn't want to go into every single detail about how to do this, but it touches upon a few ideas. I would say most, if not all, businesses would want to increase sales, but more importantly they would want to increase their profits. After all, sales or turnover is vanity, profits is sanity, and in particular cash is king, so it's important that you convert those profits into cash in the bank. So how do I go about increasing my profits? So let's have a look at step one. Well, step one is to decide that are you actually going to increase your sales in order to increase your profits, because you don't necessarily have to do that. It may be that you've decided that your sales at this point in time you're happy with, and what you actually want to do is to make your business more efficient. It's actually to look at your costs and reduce your cost base and use that method to actually increase your profits before you decide to actually move forward and start to grow your business again and increase your sales and hence your profits thereafter. So let's say that you've actually decided to increase your sales too. So in step two, let's have a look at that. So one thing you'll need to do is to decide whether you're increasing your sales of existing products or services, or are you going to introduce a new line to your business. So once you've answered that question, let's have a look at the decision that you're actually going to add a new product or service line to your business. If it is that you've decided to add a new product or service line, this can actually involve quite an amount of work, not least looking at how you're actually going to market this new line. So you'll need to do some initial market research to make sure that there is actually a market for this particular product or service, particularly if it's brand new to market. Of course, if it's already sold by existing companies or your competitors, then you know there's a market there for it. So your market research might revolve around how much it's already being sold for, so that when you come to sell it, that you make sure that you're competitive in the market. In this step, the point I always like to make is that most businesses recognize that it's much easier to sell to existing customers than it is to a person that doesn't actually know you. It does cost a lot less to market to existing customers, because of course the stage-by-stage process of introducing new customers is building up that trust, building up that rapport. So by introducing a new product or service, you can sell that to your existing customers. Of course it might attract new ones, but you could sell it to your existing customer base, thereby increasing your sales, and possibly one thing I'm going to touch upon is increase your average transaction value. It might be that the introduction of this new line is actually complementary to your already existing product or service base. So it may be that when your customers visit you, they buy this in addition. So therefore, each time they visit you, they're spending more money with you. And actually, this is one of my favorite ways of the 7 ways to grow a business, by increasing your average transaction value. And this is a very powerful tool, and it can significantly increase your bottom line without actually increasing your costs in any significant way. So never underestimate the power of increasing your average transaction value. And by introducing a new product or service line, this is one way to tackle that particular method of growing your business. The other advantage of introducing new products or services is actually what you end up doing is you increase the rate of return of your customers, because it might be that they've already bought other ranges from you, and actually this new product or service is something that they actually really want, so they're going to return to you, they're going to come back again. And again, this is very, very powerful in growing your business. Step 4. Are you going to increase your sales to existing customers without introducing new lines? So if, as we looked at in step 2, it was to increase your sales, In this case, without introducing a new product or services, then you have three alternatives. So you sell more to existing customers, sell to new customers, or sell more to existing customers and or to new customers. But if you're looking to increase your sales to existing customers, the question you've got to look at is how you're going to actually entice them back. How are you going to increase the number of times your customers return to you? And this again, which I've already touched on, is one of our other 7 ways to grow a business. By increasing the number of times your customers return to your business. It is a very powerful tool to grow, and it doesn't actually cost you huge amounts of money. It might cost you more than increasing your average transaction value, because of course you might have to spend out money on enticing your customers to come back, but actually proportionately it's not going to cost you huge amounts of money. So really what you need to do is work out how you're going to entice them back. Are you going to use an email marketing campaign? Are you going to write to your customers? Or perhaps are you going to telephone them? Or in fact, if your business is one of the type of businesses where you actually go out to speak to your customers, you can actually speak to them and ask them to come back, ask them to visit you more often and purchase more from you. Step 5, selling to new customers or increasing your customer base. Well, of course, this is actually one of the more costly ways to market your business. It will cost you more in marketing, more in advertising to get a new customer through your door. And it's all about building trust. It's about building rapport. And one of the most powerful ways of doing that is to get good customer testimonials. It's something that we do ourselves, and we've got some really lovely testimonials on our existing product or services that we sell. And a customer can say it much better than you, and it provides independent corroborative evidence that actually your products are good and that your customer service is good too. So hopefully if you can get some very good testimonials, this is always a good way of helping potential new customers to trust your business. The other aspect that you need to understand when you are trying to attract new customers is looking at your marketing or your advertising. And remember that people do not read adverts. And let me explain that by way of example. We've all read newspapers or magazines, but particularly if you look at a newspaper, each article within that newspaper has a headline. And I guarantee you, you will only read those articles where the headline grabs you. If you read the headline, it doesn't interest you, you won't read the rest of the article. And the same applies to an advert. If your headline is something that grabs the customer's attention, or it's something that they are looking for, they are more likely to read your advert, and they are more likely to take action, to pick up the telephone to call you, or to go and visit your website. Or perhaps you are doing some Google pay-per-click advertising, and your headline on that Google pay-per-click is something that they've typed in and something they're looking for. So it's key that your headline actually reflects what that person is looking for. There are many business owners that are actually very interested to see the name of their company at the top of the advert. And unless you are a well-known product or a branded item that someone is specifically looking for, then the name of your company is far less important, and it needs to be down well below on your advert. So of course they know the company name that they are calling, but once they've gone through the copy, but more importantly the headline that's attracted them to read your advert in the first place. Having said all that, the other key element of any advert that attracts people is a very good image. And you can experiment with images. We've all seen different images that make us turn our heads or pull our attention, and you can have a lot of fun with this. So headlines in images are the two key elements of any advert to attract someone's attention. And make sure when you're actually writing the copy that the copy is benefit orientated. Make sure that you put across what's in it for me, what's in it for the customer. Make sure that he knows what they are getting from buying that product. How do they benefit? What is it they get out of it? And so on. And for now, that's really all I want to say about increasing sales and profits. This subject is huge, but I wanted to keep this particular video quite short, and it really uses this blog article, which is very short and sweet, to just explain it in a bit more detail. However, if you do have any questions, particularly about what we've said here, or in depth about perhaps increasing your sales or increasing your profits, pop a comment on the bottom of this blog article and we'll quite happily answer that for you. Alternatively, if you go to our support forum, you can pose a question in there, and if we know the answer, we'll answer it for you, and we're very happy to do that. Anyway, well, thank you for listening, and we'll see you soon, and bye for now.